Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Decoded by Devers. I'm your host, Dina Matar, the CEO of Devers. Today, we're going to be speaking with Jim Ward, the founder and CEO of Integral Reality Labs. Hey, Jim, thank you so much for being here. I think it would be good to start with us maybe hearing a little bit more about your background and, like your journey. I know you've got a lot of incredible experience having, a lot of Emmy nominations and an Emmy win as an executive producer. I think that it speaks volumes of your experience. So I think it would be great to just hear a little bit about you from you and things that maybe people don't know.
Well, thanks, Dean. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. I've had a fun career, a very eclectic career, done a lot of different things. I first started off in the world of advertising on Madison Avenue, and I worked at major ad agencies like Doyle Dane Burbach, BBDO, and White and Kennedy, and I ran global advertising accounts. I ran the global Apple business and introduced the original PowerBook. I ran the global Microsoft business and introduced Windows 95 with the Rolling Stones and Start Me Up, if anybody still
Wow.
that. Ran the global Nike business and introduced a young man of the world named Tiger Woods. Then I spent over a decade with a gentleman named George Lucas at Lucasfilm at a time when George was going to self-invest in the next round of Star Wars movies, which became known as the prequels, and he wanted to build the infrastructure himself at Lucasfilm to manage that properly. So I actually came in and created a marketing division, a distribution division, an online division, and went on to be responsible for our global revenue streams in the theatrical business, in the home video business, what we then called free and pay TV. And I was also president of LucasArts, the video game company underneath the Lucasfilm umbrella. So I spent over a decade with George on that, and then retired and got into venture capital, which is what I do today. I'm a partner in a venture capital firm called Louis, based out of the San Francisco area. And along the way, I also had the opportunity to still indulge in a lot of fun activities. I went momentarily insane and ran for the United States Congress. Fortunately, I did not win. I think that would have been an end to me there. I also went down and volunteered 2 days at the Phoenix Symphony, the community in which I'm involved, and ended up running the symphony for close to a decade, and then have been involved in venture capital, both in terms of deal flow investments, board governance, and also, as oftentimes happens, dropping into a company to help scale and grow it as a CEO. Most recently, I just got done being a co-CEO with one of our portfolio companies called Meow. So, and then began to look around in our portfolio to see where opportunities were, and created a new co called IRL.
That sounds like quite a CV you've got there. So how did you come into like developing IRL? Like, what was your motivation for it? What made that move for you?
Yeah, well, we at Also Bluey had invested in one of our portfolio companies that was named Mixed Dimensions. And Mixed Dimensions was an ongoing company that had the ability to take a gamer's customized digital asset from in-game, whether that was Star Trek Online or Assassin's Creed or Rainbow Six from Ubisoft, and then order a 3D printed physical asset that was shipped directly to their home, and they'd have a nice collectible for their desk. That was some proprietary technology that they built. And, they were a verified service provider for Unity and, again, had an ongoing business. I felt that given emerging trends in the marketplace, that there might be an opportunity to, in effect, supersize that ecosystem and take it to the next level. Trends that I was seeing was obviously the emergence and the buzz around all things the metaverse, right? And, we at Also Bluey were an initial investor in Niantic, and I've worked with John Hankey for many years in that capacity. But I soon come to the conclusion that this idea of the metaverse, that everyone wants to live 24/7 in this Ready Player One Matrix kind of environment,
Mhm.
sort of isn't really kind of what we want to do. I think we are sentient human beings, and at the end of the day, we need to be bridged back to our physical grid. We need to somehow spend time in that metaverse, but also live in the real world in which we live. And certainly with, this success of Niantic,
Mhm.
I saw up front and close and personal that, having that bridge of the physical world being bridged with the digital world is something that could actually work
Mhm.
from a financial perspective. The second thing that I began to notice was the emergence of obviously the crypto economy and those things called NFTs.
Mhm.
And
Very
that,
bad word.
yeah, well, it's a reality, however. And what I was
Yeah.
noticing was the entire marketplace was being flooded with digital NFTs. But the people we were talking to, like Bored Ape and Candy and Autograph and these types of folks, were sort of hitting the wall in terms of utility, that people had these digital assets and they're kind of an investment, but I'm looking at them and what do I do with them? And the idea around creating greater utility for those digital assets by
Mhm.
bridging them to the real world seemed like another opportunity here. So, with those thoughts in my mind, I created a new co called Integral Reality Labs, and I merged Mixed Dimensions, that company, into IRL, into the new co. And we began about 18 months ago to build a new platform that we call the Integral Reality Platform, that again attempts to bridge the digital with the physical world with increased utility and hopefully a lot of fun and money along the way, and frankly salvation for us all to get us back into the physical world and not just go and live in the metaverse.
I wanted to ask you if you could maybe elaborate on your trademark term, smart collectibles. So, why go through all that trouble to trademark it, and what vision do you have for smart collectibles?
Sure, yeah. So again, as I explained, Mixed Dimension was making basically passive collectibles, taking a digital file, manipulating that, printing it in the highest 3D capability that exists, and delivering it to your doorstep, and you would have this beautiful collectible sitting on your desk. But it was passive; there was nothing you could really do with that. And so, what
Mhm.
we want to do is evolve that platform into the Integral Co-Reality platform and create what we call sport collectibles. And these are collectibles that would be imbued with value. They could carry metadata. They could be minted on the blockchain. But more importantly, they would provide utility, a bridge back into the digital world through an application that we've created, whereby you take that printed figure and have that interact with your smartphone on an app that we have. Our first step was to partner with an existing partner of ours, Ubisoft, on the Assassin's Creed IP and build out the platform around that so that we could provide Assassin's Creed fans with new and unique ways to engage with the Assassin's Creed IP through this platform that we were developing.
Amazing. So, I think this will speak mostly towards, the Assassin's Creed fans who will probably respond to this. For everyone out there who's going to immediately jump the gun and say, "Oh, well, that's not, these are smart collectibles. They're pretty much NFTs." How would you respond to that in terms of like your differentiation? So, what is different to in what Integral Reality Labs is doing versus what other collectors are creating as digital collectibles and digital assets and calling them NFTs and other kinds of collectibles? How can you differentiate that from what you are building in your smart collectibles?
Sure. Well, look, the fact that these are NFTs are sort of secondary to the ecosystem. What we have developed is a proprietary process by which we can mint digitally on the blockchain, but also actually print physical objects on the blockchain as well. And what
Mhm.
that does from an NFT perspective is create a bond and a digital twin, both a digital asset and a physical asset that are bonded together. But again,
Mhm.
that's the authentication aspect of this entire ecosystem. What we're really trying to do is bring value to those collectibles that you might already have anyway, or choose to have, by evolving them into smart collectibles. And so in our case, we are printing these smart collectibles in the form of a cube. And I'm not sure if you can quite see
Yeah.
Dina here. This happens to be Ezio from the Assassin's Creed universe. And we basically print this out. It comes embedded with an authentication chip, again, to authenticate on the blockchain, but most importantly, an NFC chip that then allows you to have this interact with your smartphone on an application. And that application then allows you to manipulate the digital asset through this physical asset and go through a number of achievements, not to go too much in the deep dive into the Assassin's Creed world, but earn points, buy weapons and things like that, power up your digital and physical asset as well, go through achievements, and ultimately forge new assets that you can then print out in 3D real world form as well, and continue that process. And so what we're providing is a whole new way of looking at collectibles by viewing them as smart collectibles and having them interact in all new ways to give you further utility in terms of your engagement, in this case with Assassin's Creed. Although we're building this platform out to work with any IP partner, and we're in discussions, I can't quite mention who, but a number of other great IP holders as well.
That's really cool. So, I mean, Assassin's Creed is probably one of the biggest, it's probably the biggest Ubisoft franchise. What made you go with Assassin's Creed for your first smart collectibles collection? I ask this because I've been in this industry a while. You know, you also know that gamers are going to be quite on top of this. And it'll be nice to hear from you in terms of why you went with them first and what you're hoping for in terms of the outcome.
Yeah, well, you know, we were fortunate enough to have a wonderful relationship with Ubisoft, and had been with Mixed Dimensions creating passive collectibles on the beginnings of this platform with Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six in particular. When it came time for us to evolve our platform, we went to Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft and said, look, this is our vision of the future. And they got very excited about that and were willing to allow us to have a license to venture into this new arena, and have been extremely supportive of this effort. But what's exciting for us is that the Assassin's Creed universe of fans is quite extensive, quite passionate, similar to, you know, franchises I've worked with in the past, you know, that little one called Star Wars. We were eager to be able to also begin to provide those fans with this further utility through these smart collectibles and address our ecosystem to both Web 2.0 folks and Web 3.0 folks kind of at the same time, and see if there was a way that we could create utility in new ways to excite the Assassin's Creed fan base to participate. And there's not anything I can think of better than that universe and that fan base to try this ecosystem out. And we hope that they're willing to do that.
No, I agree. It is a very cool concept. I think it's a really nice idea as well to just have like your favorite, you know, a character, and where you're actually able to do things with them on an application. But to be clear, like this doesn't actually do anything in terms of the gaming franchise, right? So it's just for the application.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Our first phase of this allows you to buy what we call a soul. And the soul is that digital asset. It's that character from Assassin's Creed. And we'll be doing a number of drops of souls. And those souls, first couple will be Ezio and Edward from Black Flag, for example. But we'll be doing a number of drops with multiple characters. But you're able to buy that soul and then customize that soul. And you can change armor and weapons and all of those types of things. And then we will print that soul into this, physical 3D cube that you will have shipped directly to your home. With that, you will then scan that cube into your smart device, your phone, and that will awaken that soul to bond the digital soul with the physical cube itself. And then you can begin to engage in the application and do a number of different leveling up activities and achievements and things like that. Now, in the future, what we would like to do is to, when you begin to augment that digital soul and awaken it, and tie it to the physical smart collectible, as you go through these achievements, that actually affects that digital soul, that when it goes back in game online, you will in fact affect your online game performance. We're not quite there yet, and that's something that we're going to be working towards cross-platform with other IP holders as well. But this is our first step. But we believe there's great utility just with interacting with our application and the fun things that we can do in there as well.
Okay, cool. Well, I think you kind of partially answered this question, but I was going to ask about what other characters or what other assassins you're going to have from the franchise. You know, if I'm a fan and I want to buy one of these, how does that process work? Like, how will it be for someone who wants to just, where do they go? Like, how's the process? How do they receive the physical collectible? Yeah, maybe we can start with that.
Yeah, very soon, Dina, in the month of May, we're going to be dropping some early passes for Assassin's Creed fans. And when you purchase those passes, what that's going to allow you to do is have a future drop of a digital soul. It's also going to allow you to get to the front of the line to have that digital soul customized and printed as your smart collectible. So you'll be able to jump ahead of others if you buy a pass in order to do that. And it will also give you benefits downstream in terms of interaction with the app. Shortly after that, we will make our first digital soul drop of Assassin's Creed characters. As I mentioned, the first couple will be Ezio and Edward, and we've got a lot lined up after that.
Can't share names?
I'm sorry?
You can't share them?
No, I can't at this point. You keep some of this as a surprise.
Okay.
But at that point, you'll be able to go online to our site and purchase that digital soul. You'll then be directed to customize it. And again, you're going to customize the weapons, the armor, and the poems that you literally want to have printed in this, amazing smart collectible. You will send that into us. We will print that out to you. And within 2 weeks, you will get that shipped directly to your door. When you then get your smart collectible, you will authenticate it on our application, download our app, authenticate it on the app, and it will recognize your specific asset, both registered, obviously, on the blockchain. And then you'll be able to start to interact with the application and gain achievements and forge new opportunities along the way.
Okay, that's really cool. So is this going to be able to be shipped globally? Because I'm in Dubai, for example, and I always have issues ordering something from the US or anywhere. Actually, it's always been such a process getting anything from the Americas to be, to arrive at my door in Dubai. So how's that going to work? Because I know that Assassin's Creed has fans all over the world. So I'm sure. So what's your plan there?
Yeah, our intent is to have that capability. Internationally, there may be a small fee attached from a shipping perspective so that we can provide that service, but that is absolutely our intent.
Okay, that sounds good. I think this is the risky question now is how do you think Assassin's Creed fans are going to take this?
Let's be honest, as all of us have entered into the world of Web3, we've been learning, and there have been some successes and some failures.
Yeah.
I would hope and trust that the Assassin's Creed fans out there would be eager and willing to try out a new experience, an experience that gives them the benefit of combining their digital asset that they can customize with a smart collectible that's shipped directly to them. And they, at a minimum, get a collectible that's nice to have, but
Yeah.
maximum, a collectible that's now smart and can interact in ways that they've never been able to do before. Look, as a collector myself and someone that's been immersed in many different types of IP universes, including Star Wars, it's great to have collectibles, but I've always yearned for those collectibles to have further utility to do other things. And that's what we're trying to provide folks that gain pleasure out of these collectibles by allowing these collectibles to do even more and interact with an application and do fun stuff. So
Yeah.
I would hope that the Assassin's Creed universe would, be eager to try that out and see what they think. And of course, we love input, and this is an evolving technology, an evolving platform. And we'd love to hear back as we grow. This is a validation phase for us, if you will, to get that feedback. But we're excited. We think we've cracked something that could be pretty fun all the way around.
No, I'm sure it will be. I just hope the keyboard warriors aren't on this before they understand what it is. The fact that there is so much utility attached to it. I mean, I've had this conversation so many times with other guests as well, in terms of like why NFTs are so hated. And I think that, there was the early guys who kind of made it that way because they tried to make it so much about the money and monetization and giving people an unfair advantage in a game that they've been playing their whole lives. And I think that's kind of what ruined it. And I think that right now, I'm speaking to quite a lot of like, other franchises who are in the same process of, they're also walking on eggshells in terms of how they want to do this. But it is the way forward. I mean, I think we can all agree that the future is going towards Web3. So something like this is kind of inevitable. It's just everyone's afraid to be the first to do it. I'm really excited to see these smart collectibles like go live, and I'm excited to see the results because I am sure that it's going to be one for the books. It's going to be probably one of the first, hopefully most successful of the early adopters in doing this. So I'm really excited to see it. I think I want to know in terms of, obviously, because of you've started off with a bang with Assassin's Creed, what else do you have in the pipelines that you can share with us in terms of what other IPs are next in line after these drops?
Yeah. So, well, let me just address, the elephant in the room that you just spoke to, Dina.
Yeah.
Look, the way to view what we're doing, NFTs are simply an authentication of the asset, right? This isn't about buying an NFT and speculating and having it grow in value. We're using the blockchain simply as authentication. And as a collector, I want to know what I'm buying is authenticated. So let's let that NFT thing just go away for a second, because all we're doing is we've come up with a proprietary technique to do it, but authenticate it both a digital and physical on the blockchain, so you as a buyer know it's real. The real utility here is, rather than just buying a digital asset and looking at it and trying to play with it in the metaverse, we're providing a physical twin to that so that you have it in the real world as well. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can collect it, you can look at it on your desk. And then beyond that, we're making it smart so that it can actually interact back with that digital asset through an application, and through that application, gain achievements and forge and do other types of activities which are inherent in the game world as we speak. So I just want to emphasize that this platform that we're creating is about utility to collectibles, which is why we call them smart collectibles. The whole blockchain aspect is simply an authentication form of this. So in terms of, your question around future IP, honestly, let me just say there's tremendous interest in what we're doing because it's never been done before. We have a patent portfolio of technologies that allow us to take a customized digital file and uniquely print it in the way that we're printing it, We also have technologies which protect the way in which we are printing on the blockchain and creating a new asset class and all of the things that we're doing with this technology. So there's a lot of IP interest in this. So we are in discussions with many folks. I can't tell you specifically who, but what I can say is we are talking to folks within three different areas. Obviously, the gaming world, and there's a number of folks in that, and I'm sure your listeners and viewers can sort of think through great franchises that might be interested in this in that realm. But we're also interested in the sports arena because we think that this has great applicability because there are collectors in sports. But also uniquely, we have an application across our platform in music as well. And I can tell you that we're looking both in many different segments, both in the U.S. and in terms of rap and in those types of areas, but also K-pop as well. And you can imagine fans of those music genres and particular artists wanting to collect things that typically are regular swag that now can have value as smart collectibles and be keys to early music drops or concerts or whatever we might come up with. So there's a lot of interest in the music segment as well. So those are the three areas that we are in conversations with IP partners, and we're very excited about that.
That does sound exciting. Sounds like you have the entire, well, not the entire, but most of the entertainment category in terms of an industry to play with here. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people who want to be involved, not just because of, the whole platform. I think that obviously the blockchain use as an authenticator is one of the best utilities of the blockchain. And I think that's really important that, I'm really glad that you shared all of that. All valid points. I'm glad to have heard it. And I think with that being said, I'd like to know, you've said a lot, you're doing a lot. I'm sure you're a very busy guy with all of these conversations, and I'm very excited to see the pipeline once we have that ready. But I'd like to know for you, Jim, what's your goal with IRL, Integral Reality Labs? What is your plan? What's your future? What is it that you want? And I guess in the next few years, what do you hope for?
Well, again, as I set out on this journey, my personal goal is to reintroduce the world to its physical self. My concern is, having been in this business for a very, very long time, is that to be myopically preoccupied with living in this Ready Player One world, for lack of a better description, belies the fact that we live in a physical world, and the physical world is actually pretty amazing. And so we want to reintroduce the world to its physical self through what we do. More specifically, technologically, what we want to do is evolve this platform so that we can have even further utility with these smart collectibles. We want to be able to introduce AR. So imagine imagine receiving this and using your phone or glasses or wherever we evolve from an AR perspective. And this character, Ezio, comes to life, jumps onto the cube, and you can begin to interact with that character through AR in many different ways. Imagine your favorite K-pop band, and through AR capabilities, those characters come to life and begin to sing for you and do different types of activities. We want to push the envelope on bridging from the digital to the physical, but then back into the digital world. So what you do in the physical world actually affects gameplay in the digital as well. And that you could bring those assets from both the digital and physical world back and forth with each other, because we think there's great utility and fun and gameplay in pushing that envelope as well. So there's a number of areas that we foresee in the future that are very exciting for us. And we think fundamentally this bridge is critical to our existence as humans, and in a small way in gaming or in in sports or in music collectability, we can find unique utility to create better engagement for us all in these activities.
I think the fact like this AR aspect of it, I think is going to be something that would make it massive. For one, I wanted to ask if you had any plans to also somehow incorporate AI within, within what you guys are doing. I mean, with AI now, I don't want to get into it in too much detail because we'll go on for another 40 minutes, but there's a lot that's being done with AI. Forget the negative side for now because there's a lot recently, but the positive sides, like in terms of what can be created with if you combine like using the augmented reality plus using artificial intelligence within these characters and more than just making them come to life, like even being able to have conversations, things like that. Do you think that will ever be a part of the plan for IRL?
Yeah, you bet. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, we're all incorporating AI into aspects of our development process, quite honestly. But yeah, absolutely. I think that ultimately we'd love to create a universe of creators so that you not only are a player, but you are a creator in that universe by, adopting and buying a digital soul that you can actually customize even further than what you can do now with our customizer. And also leverage AI in that process from a creativity perspective, and then associate with others to create the worlds in which you're going to be operating those smart collectibles on the digital plane and physical plane, and having AI add to that overall creativity that you as a creator are bringing to the whole ecosystem. So yeah, absolutely. And we are looking at ways to incorporate that. Look, I think though, what I learned from George Lucas as
Mhm.
he developed the entire industry of special effects in movies is that you don't do special effects for the sake of special effects. Special effects need to serve a story. And so the narrative and the story needs to drive the need for the technology. And what I fear in this world in which we're engaging now with AI is people are leveraging AI for AI's sake to say, hey, we've got AI and that's a cool thing.
Mhm.
AI is simply needs to be a tool in our business to serve a narrative, to serve a storyline, to serve an ability to customize, serve your ability to create. And so we very much understand the role and utility of AI and don't want that to become the end in and of itself. It's simply a means to an end, which is ultimately a dynamic experience for fans, And so that's the only yellow flag I would throw out there in terms of where we're going with AI right now, because at least certainly in my world, in the VC world, in the investment world, AI is a buzzword, and anybody
Yeah.
that says AI, we're going to throw money at it, and that's not the smart thing to do. It's those who can use AI as a means to an end, as a tool to create what they're doing. That's where the value inherent's going to be.
No, I completely agree. I mean, despite all of the things that Elon was saying about it, how true it is, I do agree with him. But there's just also so much good that can be done with that. And, you know, I think that's pretty much with a lot of things in the world. But it's really exciting to hear what you guys have planned. And what you say makes a lot of sense. I mean, it has to fit with the narrative. And I think with what you guys are developing with your smart collectibles, plus the application, plus everything that's going to be coming with it, it's just so easy to keep developing and adding utility. And I think that's going to be what makes you guys stand out, both industries, the Web 2.5, let's say. I think that's going to be amazing to see. Thank you so much, Jim.
Yeah, we're excited about it, Dina. Thanks so much for having me today and giving the opportunity to speak about what we're very passionate and excited about.
Of course. No, I'm very excited to see it. I'm excited for for it to launch. I'm excited for everything. I mean, it's gonna be a big one. Thank you so much for taking time out of, I'm sure, your very, very busy schedule to join us on Decoded. And we'll definitely probably do this again soon. I
Okay.
hope in a little while down the road when we can talk about, what happened.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds great.
Thanks again. So bloopers. It's so cringy. I can't. I'm not going to tell people to like and subscribe. I'm not Jake Paul or whoever he is.
Say whatever you feel like in the moment, and if it's good, I'll take it. If not, it was all in vain.
Okay. Good one. I'm not doing this. Thank you so much for watching. That is all. That's enough, right?
It was good.
Thank you.